All righty. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Good evening. This is John Henry Soto here, along with Mr. Jorge Batista. Some people don't know he's my cousin, actually. Grew up with this knucklehead, but here. We are. We're really excited to be here this evening, and there's our face.
Hey.
And I forgot my hat, George. Oh my God.
That's right. As long as they listen, as long as they know that I got the looks in the family, that's all they need to know.
Well, I tell you, these filters are amazing. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have Tim Sabatino is here today. George, you want to read a little bit about our guest? I'm very excited to have him here.
Yeah, absolutely. We are very excited to have Mr. Tim Sabatino here. Just a little bit of his background. For over 25 years, Mr. Sabatino has worn many hats in the entertainment industry as a celebrity photographer, an actor, director, and producer for music videos. His credits also include commercials and commercial advertising photo shoots. Tim is also a true artist with gallery exhibitions worldwide of his oil paintings and photography, having won his first art contest at the young age of 5. Tim is a big supporter and regularly contributes to human rights charities, and we are very excited and honored to have him on this program.
Cool. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Tim Sabatino.
Yes.
These applause are a little long, so we're just going to play along and have some fun here.
We have a big audience.
Thank you so much for being on.
Thanks for having me.
All right, audience. Thank you so much for being on, Tim. This is so awesome to have you on here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Cool. So we want to really get started on the purpose why we're here, why we do this show, George and I, and it's usually to really give the audience and anybody out there a journey, anything, overcoming barriers, handling objections if you're in sales, or we're all in sales basically, right? And basically that's what this show is about. So, and also spotlighting conversations, so we want to put the spotlight on you. We want to kind of go back a little bit into your background and tell us a little bit about how you got started on wearing all these hats.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's actually very interesting how my career has evolved. There's a friend of mine right back there. So I grew up with an artist family. So my mom is an artist. She draws and paints. My grandmother is a painter, oil paints. And we grew up drawing and painting in the home all the time. And I'd say we grew up like a pretty poor family, but we always had art supplies in the house. We could always draw. We always had paper and crayons and whatever, colored pencils, pastels. We were always at the table drawing together as a family.
Oh, that's so cool.
And that was always very natural for me as well. And I loved it so much that I took every art class in high school and college. I did get my college degree in fine art.
Oh.
And so then as I'm going through, sorry, I got a bunch of interruptions.
I have 2 kids and a cat, so I know that.
So then straight out of high school, I joined the Navy. I was gone in the Navy for 4 years, and I joined the Navy so I could travel the world and so I could have money for the GI Bill for college. Came back, went to college, but that wasn't enough to pay for college. So I got a job at the local camera store because I was just fascinated with cameras and fell in love with photography. And that became my career. I sold cameras for 7 years.
Oh,
wow. And I became a pro medium format and large format camera specialist, which also included studio lighting. So after selling every studio lighting company, everything that's manufactured pretty much on the planet, because I worked at the biggest camera store in LA, Sammy's Camera. So that led to photography. I fell in love with photography. And next thing you know, I was like, I love this, and I became an independent photographer. Started in 1994 full time. and I've been shooting since then. So being in LA, you know, it's all here. There's movies and television and commercials and music videos, and I really love LA. I love the fact that it is such an artist center for creative people. So I got into acting for a little bit. I was acting for about 15 years and commercially. I did really well in commercials. So I was booking commercials, and then I started working as a DP, and that evolved into directing. And then so now when you're in LA, it's easy to work all the parts, all the
right.
You know, I've done producing where I would do, and I've done casting. So sometimes I've got to cast, you know, the actors or the models or the dancers or the choreographers or whatever's needed for the job.
Yeah.
So that acting actually got me into stunt driving, and because my agent would send me out on car commercial auditions all the time. There's always a car commercial. So the end of time, you know, for example, Toyota Camry, there's a new make and model every single year. So they make a new every year.
All new commercials, yeah.
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 So the casting directors would always ask me what stunt driving, because they would often want an actor who could also drive. So I went and I studied and I took all the stunt driving courses here in LA. There's a couple really good ones. And through the stunt driving, I got on a driving team, and next thing you know, I'm stunt driving in the movies and television. And it is so much fun.
Yeah.
And stunt driving, there's not enough work for that to be your full-time gig. So it's always a side thing. You know, well, I worked on Fast and the Furious. Driven in about 45, maybe 50 movies and television. But you don't work a lot. Like Fast and Furious, we worked for 3 weeks. And movie's done. I've driven in about 150 car commercials. Over like 20 years. And a commercial you shoot in one day.
Right.
Okay.
So you know you're rare, but some commercials are 2 to 3 day shoots. So that has evolved. Now, mind you, all these years I'm shooting photography as my bread and butter.
Okay.
My day job. My day job is photography. So I'm shooting everything: fashion, advertising, product, headshots, celebrities. You know, whatever. It's really all here.
Yeah.
It is really all here.
I wanted to ask you, when you're in having the mindset of being open to things, you know, I think that's something that I've run into a lot. I've always been that way. You know, I'm like, oh, I like doing that. Or, you know, I've kind of fallen. And sometimes you always hear somebody say, well, you got to pick one thing, you know what I mean? You can't just go around doing everything. Pick one thing, you know? And I always hated that comment. I always thought, well, I'm a creative human being. I'm a creative spiritual being. I'm going to create wherever I feel that I want to create. Yes. Was that ever anything that a challenge for you, or was it just like smooth for you and everyone else kind of gave you a hard time?
Yes, 100%. I definitely have heard that many, many times over and over again. In fact, I heard that when I was working at the camera store and I was preparing to leave and go to be self-employed as a photographer, I heard from many, many people that you need to focus on one subject. You need to be, like, for example, a wedding photographer. Now, that is a genre that your wedding photographers are so much work and you're so busy that that's pretty much all you can do.
Right.
So I don't do weddings. I have shot them. I do shoot them rarely. It's usually a friend or word of mouth. It's, you know, I have the weekend available and I can, it's very rare, but I do a handful of weddings a year. Yeah. But you can get sucked into that world, and then you don't have time for anything else. And so I want that. So I did take that as a challenge because I love to shoot everything. If you're a photographer, if you know lighting,
right,
if you can light something, you can shoot it. Right. So if it's a person, if it's a product, if it's a car, if it's interiors of a house, if you can light it, you can shoot it. If you know
Yeah.
your photography properly and you know the proper tools, you can do it. So I do think that photographers who do specialize in one category probably book more work in that one category, and that's probably what they want to do, and that's fine.
Right.
So, but it's I do love to do so much.
Right.
Producing music videos is a lot of fun. I love working with the musicians and creating and making this visual story to a song.
Right.
That is really fun. I love doing that too.
And lighting is really, it's such a huge thing. And now with film, and if you can, like you said, if you can light it, you can shoot it. And I think it has so much to do with, people don't really realize how much it has to do with storytelling.
Yeah.
I mean, it is so important, and you're watching it and you shouldn't really know, the lighting, as a consumer, right? Yeah. But when you're lighting it, it's very, very, very purpose. George, you have a question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just curious because you actually
go on and on.
I know this guy just keeps talking. I'm telling you. So you were lucky that you actually grew up in a household that really household that they saw how art was so important to them, right? That's great. Now, so what would you say to someone who has that artistic vision and that creativity within them, but they're not in a household that's supportive of it, right? Because then you always run into like, well, yeah, you're not going to do that, for the rest of your life, or you got to go get a day job, that type
have
of
a
thing.
Plan B.
Exactly. So what would you say to somebody in that aspect?
That is a great question. So, and I do run into that a lot. I work with a lot of actors who moved to LA to pursue their dream of acting, but never had support from their family. In fact, they had the counter support, the negative comments and stuff like that. So what I usually tell people who I meet like that is, I think that people who do have that support are very lucky, and the people who don't have it, they need to not be a effect of those people, even if it's their mom and dad, if it's their parents, if it's their their best friend, their spouse. You have to confront them, and you have to be like, you have to really, really, really let them know, hey, this is what I want to do.
Right.
And I'm going to do it. So I'm going to do better with your support.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So please give me the support. So I think that getting in that communication with that person, and if it's not a family member or not a spouse, or somebody like maybe somebody you work with, or just a friend, that's right.
Yeah.
I don't care how long you've been friends.
Adios.
Right.
Listen, I had a best friend for 15 years. 15 years. I thought this guy was my best friend, and I, after doing some personal growth and life improvement and stuff, I realized, oh, this guy keeps invalidating me. He keeps making me wrong and he doesn't make me feel good. Right. So that person is in your life and they don't make you feel good. And if you can't get through to them and confront them and get them to change that part, then you just end it. I don't care. And let me tell you something. Magic happens when you do that.
Oh, right.
When I realized this guy was bad for me, I completely disconnected from him. I said, "You're not my friend." And the way you are, the way you treat me, you're actually really not my friend. So don't ever call me again. Cut it off with him. I'm not kidding. The next day, I pulled in some new amazing friends, some new friendships. Things started happening, and my business got busier. I just like in a 24-hour period, things started getting better for me, all because I disconnected from this one bad seed that was in my life.
Yeah, it's a powerful thing. I actually have a story like that from 2013 that I did that. And the next 2 weeks afterwards were incredible. Things were just coming in. I was a magnet for like positive projects and things. it is an amazing thing, you know. And I think what you said earlier about the communication is, you know, there's this fear of being invalidated that an artist always has, because this is what we put ourselves out there.
Right.
Hey, everybody, look what I'm doing, you know.
Mhm.
And that's a bit of a, you know, scary place to be sometimes.
Yeah.
But to have that serious conversation with that family member or friend or spouse or whatever, I think they don't take it seriously enough when they want to get into that conversation. Like, say, listen, tonight at 6 o'clock, I want to sit down with you and I want to have a serious conversation about something. Is that okay with you? You know, because then they're like,
I love that.
That's weird, you know. But you know, and it's like, but now they know that you really want to say something, and then you bring it up and you say it, and then if they don't get it at that point, then, you know, obviously you got to increase the gradient of it. But
yeah, just on a point on that, because I kind of went through it a little bit when as a musician, and you know, my mother knew nothing about music, and she was like, you know, this kid's gonna play the drums and whatever he thinks he's gonna play. And we had that, I remember having that conversation with her, and John, you and I have had this conversation many times. And after that comment, there was a part of me, number one, it freed me when I did have that conversation, that I'm going to do this and I'm going to be a musician. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to play and I'm going to express myself. But there was also a little bit of that thing that it was almost like it actually made me better, because what did they say? Success is the best revenge sometimes, right? When you get really good, you can turn around and say, you see, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I kind of had that mindset as well.
Yeah, that's another thing. When you have somebody who's invalidating you, or if somebody, even if they're not bad like that, but let's just, maybe they don't believe in you, or they just don't support whatever it is you're doing, flourish and prosper. Just keep going, don't stop. Right. You know, don't give up, be persistent, and be an example. So when they see you and they see how well you're doing, someday they'll snap out of it and go,
exactly.
You're good, you know, good
exactly.
Good at that, you know. All right.
Yeah. One of the things I also tell young artists is to be very, very observant of who's who's supporting you and who doesn't say anything at all. Right. When you have like a success or you post them, like who that, you know, that they're close to you, but they don't say one thing, not even a little like, not even a thumbs up. And you're like, interesting. You know, be very, very observant. I mean, we're you know, we're precious creatures here, the artists. You know,
that's a red flag when somebody doesn't hear anything.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So George, I know you said
so just looking at your work, and I looked at a couple of your music videos, which were amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
So I just kind of want to get a little sense of your process there. How much is it you versus what the artist wants, or does it depend on who you're working with?
Yes, it's different with every artist.
Okay.
I recently did 3 music videos for the singer in New York, singer-songwriter. She did so much preparation. I mean, she wrote her songs. She wrote the shot list. She even wrote down the wardrobe, the style. She gave samples. She did research, and she gave me a mood board. And I knew exactly what she wants, and that's what I need. If I'm gonna make a music video for an artist, I need as much data as I can get, in order to make that visual story represent what that artist and that song is supposed to communicate.
Yeah.
So this one artist, she knew everything. She wanted everything. And
shot list. Wow.
So work that she even bought the props and she did a lot of stuff. Then I've had other artists who had no idea what they wanted. They had a great song. And they were, like a photogenic person. And they might have had great style, but they had no idea what they wanted for the music video.
Right.
So I have meetings with them. I go over ideas, I do research, and I usually put together a little mood board or a little storyboard and present them a couple ideas, and we might make changes and adjustments and this and that. But yeah, I love the whole creation process. So and my favorite music video is when we can collaborate and together we build and we work it out and we do it. Sure, you know, if they know everything they want and I'm just basically making exactly what they want and they already know what they want, that's fine too. It's all fun, but I do really enjoy the creation process.
Yeah, it does get actually interesting when I've directed a few music videos, and when I've had the same situation, there was like nothing on the table, you know, or even something that really made, like, I want a helicopter to drop me off on a rooftop, and then I'm like, all right, what's your budget for this? You know, you know, that kind of thing. And then there's others that come with full ideas. But I like the fact when I hear the song, I think in images. Like my mind just always is that way since I was a kid. So even when we play music, I'm thinking, I played with George in a band for many years and stuff, and we recorded albums and all that.
That's cool.
And so I always thought in the image first, you know, or the song gave me the image of what it is. So do you, when you hear a song, does it something boom, snap, like automatically you're like, this is the feel and this is what it should be. I'm going to present this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Often. Yeah. And sometimes I have to listen to it several times, but yeah. You know, I'll hear something. So I always ask the artist to send me the song, like the lyrics. So when I hear it, and then I can also read it and I can see, and then and I always have the artist tell me in their own words, what is this song supposed to communicate? What do they want it to communicate to their audience? Right. And then I think with that, and then I listen to it, and then I start taking out notes and start creating and start putting together ideas, and then present it to them, and then we go back and forth and come up with a little visual story, and then we go shoot.
Yeah. I made the mistake of asking a hip hop artist once what he wanted the audience to get from it, and it was not really. I shot it, but I had to be like, all right, let's try this idea, and it went well. It went well, but it was a little bit. Woo. So I want to talk a little bit about barriers that come up, and we kind of like touched upon it. Was there ever a time where you ran into a barrier that you kind of said, I'm done?
I definitely have ran into barriers, but I definitely have not come close to giving up.
Good.
And that could just be my personality, stubborn. You know, I would say, I mean, I remember as young as like maybe the 8th or 9th grade, having problems with the other kids in school because I was the weird guy. I was the weird artist.
Right.
I definitely have always been very creative and artistic, and I would dress artistic, and I would, I was definitely a little bit different, not your average, So starting then and going all the way up until my 30s is when I really got some attacks. I think it was when I was doing really well.
Wow.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, right. So when there's times that I would really like do some like really explode. I had this amazing art show in Malibu. My paintings, I had a whole collection of paintings that were in this restaurant, this famous restaurant, Casa Escobar in Malibu, that I kept selling, and I kept getting commissions from these celebrities and these people in Malibu. And the restaurant owner extended my exhibition from 3 months and kept extending it, and it ended up being there for 2.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like unheard of for like a restaurant. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So for all the artists out there, I recommend hit up restaurants, because you have a regular new clientele, people coming in and out. There's always people in there seeing your work, and they get free art in their restaurant, and then put a little, sign so they know that it's for sale. At that time period, which was around 2005, right around 2004, 2005. There were some people, and a lot of these were people who I thought were my friends. And things, like rumors start getting started, and then there's, people start. I don't know. I definitely got attacked.
Right.
By people who just didn't want me to win. And this has gone off and on throughout my life, and as I've gotten more experience and learn how to handle it, it's less. I mean, well, it's less. It has a less effect on me.
Right.
It still happens, but now I'm very aware of it and aware of these kind of people, and when something is happening, I know how to get rid of it.
Yeah. And it's part of the awareness also that I was talking about earlier. Be aware when you're really doing well and who attacks you, because that means that you're doing well.
Yes, that's right.
Keep going.
And really pay attention to who your friends are.
Oh, man.
Like pay attention to, the way they treat you, if they support you or not, the things they say, because, people can say things that,
right.
they have an undercut.
Right. That's what I was going to say, that it's sometimes it comes in this weird flow, like they're trying to help you, and it's like, listen, I don't want you to get hurt, but a lot of people don't make it. So I don't want you to hurt, I want you to be safe, so why don't you kind of chill out on that a little bit? Yes. Come work with me down at the, A&P, and we're gonna right there. You got safe, you got benefits and everything, and then you can do your stuff on the weekends.
Yep.
And if somebody listens to that, they'll be like, well, they're really looking out for me, and don't realize that there's a knife going into your soul.
I've heard so many times, stop working so hard.
Oh, I hate that one. I did a whole talk on that on one of my shows on just that line alone, because it's so suppressive. It's hard to even explain where it comes from. I think it's the fact that you're doing so much and being so successful and you're happy, and I'm watching cartoons and eating Cheez-Its, and I'm not doing that. You need to chill out so you can come down here where I am happy, and I don't want you to go up there no more.
Yep.
And that part of it is always like, but yeah. So let's just also, there are wonderful friends out there also.
And when you find those really good friends,
are the ones that you
keep them and
shower,
give back, that exchange in, and hold on to those friends.
Shower them. And it doesn't really take a big group, it's like it takes a good amount of, like, I don't know, sometimes it could be the one person, one real person that's just supporting you. You don't need to, because Facebook and all these platforms kind of make you think that you need to have like 1,000 followers, 10,000, 1 million followers. You really don't need that.
That's right.
It's just how you feel and the people that are closest to you and the work that you're putting out. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I wanted to talk a little bit about just overall creative process. Like when you look back at your work, for example, I look at my work like in albums and things that I looked at, and I'm very critical of myself. And I'm like, I listen to a record or an album and I'm like, yeah, that was good, but I could have done this. I could have done that, and then there's also, I heard an artist not too long ago say, comfort is the killer of creativity. Right. So I've never been really comfortable. I never wanted to be comfortable with my stuff. I always wanted to bring it to the next level. So when you look at your work, how do you look at it?
So I don't do that.
Okay.
I love what I do so much that, and I know, and I have gotten stuck on, for a painting, for example, I would start a painting, and I would paint it, and I would sit there and I'll let time go by and I'll stare at it, and I'll be like, I'll make some changes, and I'll be like, okay. That's what, no, I could do this, make more change, more adjustments, or add to it. Oh, I have this idea and I'm changing it. And the next thing you know, a year has gone by. And this is a true story.
Right.
And I could have painted so many other paintings. I could have done so many creative. So my point is, like, I don't want to miss out on the time that I could have been applying to more art.
Right.
And this goes for anything: music videos, directing, editing. Because you can do that. You can get really sucked in when you're editing a music video.
Oh yeah.
Oh, definitely.
So what I've definitely learned, I've definitely gone, like, learn to start, change, stop. So I will put a lot of work into something, and I'll get it to where it's really good. And I do sometimes go over it and over it, but I make myself stop. Okay, time to move on to the next project.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
It can just be. So in editing, for example, most songs are 3 minutes. So you can go over it and over it and over it and over it, and then you can stop, and it can be great. And then a week can go by. I mean, I got a new idea. I could go back and I can edit it again. And then when you're editing, and then next thing you know, you're just spending so much time making these fine little tweaks.
Yeah. Right.
When you know what, it was great already.
Right.
Sure.
So yeah, I try not to let myself. I love most of my work, and I know that I can always do it better. I can always make changes, and I do get ideas when they're done. I can finish something completely, and then time goes by. I'm like, what if I did that? I couldn't. But no. I'm going to move on to the next project.
Yeah. With the editing, it was funny you said that, because I think I remember spending 3 days on an eye line shot. I was trying to get. I couldn't match the perfect eye line, and it drove me nuts. But I handled that by just not watching anything I've ever done or listening to anything I've ever done. I'm just kidding. No, but you're so right about that, and I think that it's also has a lot to do with the creative process never stops.
True.
It shouldn't.
True.
So of course you can add something to anything you create.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because it's what we do. But there is that change. Start, change, stop, where you really have to decide, okay, I'm going to move on to and I've done films, and I see that, and I you can, but I heard Martin Scorsese say that about Goodfellas. He was in an interview saying, I would have changed a little bit of something. And I'm like thinking, it's such a great film, and Coppola talking about The Godfather, same kind of thing, lighting, he was a little too dark. I was like, what? But this is something that should happen. You should want to, and you should also love what you do.
Right.
100%.
You should love what you do, and when you're done with it, you're like happy. You're like, oh, okay, that's good. And then be able to move on to that next thing. It's really important. I wanted to show a couple of your images, if that's okay.
Oh, sure, cool.
So, and I want you to tell the story of. I'm going to show the last one, and then you can tell the story. I love this, and these are my own my own.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
I have a story.
I love this photo.
Oh, that's beautiful.
This is one of my favorite photos.
Really?
Yeah.
I love this photo. I was looking at this for like 20 minutes, I think, the other day. Just a gorgeous. Can you talk a little bit about this?
Yes. Okay. So that is that's Jimi Hendrix's apartment, first of all.
What?
Wow.
I didn't know that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I throw that in. I'm a guitar player.
Hollywood.
Wow.
And the owner of the house is a fashion designer named Sue Wong. And she that's the clothing that she's wearing. And the model, her name is Dustin Quick. And so Dustin is actually a good friend of mine for almost 20 years, the model. And she introduced me to the fashion designer with, potential of connecting us so I could be one of her photographers. And she designs these gorgeous, gowns that are just incredible. And she actually had a party at this house and invited me. And this I did become her photographer before this, but so Dustin and I got to shoot in this space.
Wow.
Just
I mean, I saw that and I was like, this is it. I didn't even know Jimi Hendrix. I mean,
yeah,
good Lord.
yeah.
I love this shot as well. I love the shadows on her.
Oh, that's awesome.
And what city is this?
This is downtown LA.
Oh, okay.
And this rooftop was my studio.
Oh, sweet.
So I had a rooftop studio for about 8 years, and it's east of LA. So you have the skyline. It's just east of the downtown. So you have that skyline. So right here, the sun is. This is in the late afternoon, like evening, and we're looking to the west, and so the sun is coming like kind of. It looks like this is winter time, and yeah, so
captured everything like so perfect.
Yeah, and she's a Russian model, actor. She's actually an actor and a model. And
Very cool
for her PR. Yeah.
Now I'm gonna show this one, then I'm gonna show the last one that I want to show. This is just for George and I because we were Chips fans.
Oh
yes.
This was recent.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
I shot that in December.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Very recent.
Yeah. He's so cool. I was always a fan of that show. Growing up, he was like the guy.
Yeah.
So Eric Estrada was actually doing some charity work for the Way to Happiness Foundation.
Oh, okay.
Oh, cool.
And I was shooting for that charity, and that's how I got to shoot him.
That is so excellent.
Yeah.
All right. So now you have to tell me how this came about.
Yeah. All right. Now this is the best story.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've always been very spiritual in my whole life, and searching. And I have studied many religions, with searching for, who we are, what we are. And I used to be a Buddhist.
Oh, okay.
I had an opportunity about 12 or 13 years ago to go to the Dalai Lama's house in the Himalayas, in the mountains, which is northern in India, and shoot a documentary with him. And I was a cameraman. Yeah. Wow. So I got hired by this production company to go there and do that. We spent 3 months there, and it was snow and cold, and we lived in a Tibetan apartment complex with all these Tibetans, and they're all monks and nuns everywhere. And I got to work with the Dalai Lama, and I ended up meeting him. And I have gone back and forth. I've been there many times over about a 7-year period.
Wow.
And I was recently there again a couple of years ago. And I got to photograph him. I have hours and hours and hours of video. I'm editing a documentary right now on him. Shot, and I have hundreds of photographs of him. And he's just a jolly old guy. He's kind of like reminding me of my grandfather.
I was gonna ask you, how was the energy there with him?
He is definitely a very big being.
Yeah.
That is for sure. He's full of love. He's kind. He's very intelligent. I think he speaks. He speaks like probably a little bit of 10 languages.
Wow.
He taught Buddhism in English when I was there, so I got to study Buddhism from him. Yeah.
Oh man.
I really sat 15 feet in front of him on my butt in Indian style for 8 hours a day.
Oh man.
Incredible.
That is incredible. That is so cool. Is that when you have something like that kind of an experience, you look at like how you pulled in such an amazing experience.
Oh man.
And you have to kind of backtrack and be like, man, I better keep that flow going.
Now, I did publish a book of all those photographs of them. You can buy it on my website.
Oh, cool. All right. There we go.
In the store. So it's called Buddhas and Monks by Tim Sabatino.
Awesome.
That's great,
Awesome.
man.
I'm gonna get that. George, you have a question? And I'm
Yeah,
gonna
absolutely. So when you're, I'm just curious, when you're photographing all these people, they're, I'm, I would assume that some of them, when they look back at that photograph, you've brought something out in them that they didn't see, right? Have you had artists look at you and say, "Holy cow, I'm looking at something that about myself that I haven't seen before"?
Yeah, often. Yeah. That's one of the things that I love about photography is I get to work with all these people. It's these personalities and these interesting, most of them are other artists who I work with. And yeah, because now they're being photographed with my eye, and I give a lot of direction when I shoot photography or videography or music videos or commercials or short. I've done some short films. I have never directed a feature film, but yeah. So then they see themselves with my eye, and it's a great collaboration between director and actor or whoever they are, musician or whoever I'm working with. It's a collaboration between the two. So you're working together and you're creating together. It's never just me. It has to be. There has to be a strong communication going on between the two.
Yeah.
And then we have great images or whatever to as a final product.
Amazing.
And it's great. People keep hiring me, and I'm busy, and I love it when celebrities call me up because it's just it's fun.
Yeah. One thing I want to ask you, I heard that your first one was Olivia Newton-John. Is that correct?
Yes.
How did you get that one?
That's right. So that was word of mouth. We knew some of the same people. She was my first big A-list celebrity. Wow. And she asked me to shoot this album cover. And then we did that shoot. And then after this shoot, she asked me to shoot her tour book because she was getting ready to go on tour. This is around, I think it's 2006, 2005, 2006. She was going on tour. So I shot her tour book. And I shot 2 of her CD covers, the album covers. And then she would ask me, I shot she had a party with, I forget his name, the guy who wrote a bunch of her songs, really famous songwriter who also she lived in Malibu at the time. He also lived in Malibu. So she asked me to shoot the party. I shot that, shot her family photos, I shot her daughter probably 10 times.
Wow.
And who is also a singer, and I'm not sure if she's still pursuing that now. I haven't talked to her in a long time, but yeah. So when Olivia asked me to shoot her, that boosted my confidence tenfold.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was just such a great experience, and she's a wonderful lady and obviously incredible. I would be in her living room hanging out. I've been over there many times now, and she would just be walking through the hallway singing.
Oh man.
Yeah, just maybe writing a new song and singing it. And she had a piano in her living room. So we sing, and I would just be like, "Wow, this is cool. This is
so surreal."
So cool. After that, jobs just started coming in and coming in. And it had to do with my confidence, but also having an A-list celebrity in the portfolio definitely added to other celebrities wanting to shoot with me. So now I think I shot like 100 plus 8 big celebrities. So.
Yeah, I've seen and if anybody, not if anybody, please just go to the site. go to Sabatino.com. I'll leave that there for a minute. Check out the work because the photos are there, and they were. It was hard to pick the ones. I would have brought them all over, but the ones I picked were just, to me, were it's an individual thing, right? People see these things and they're like, whoa, So I wanted to ask you, because you said Olivia Newton-John kind of. I want to talk about leverage. I talk a lot about leverage, and sometimes artists don't really see that their work that they did could actually be utilized as leverage to get that next
100%. Yeah.
And they don't really see. They kind of like, okay, well, no, I did that already, and I'm like, no, I that's great that you did it, and it's amazing, but
Yeah.
show it, and you're going to get more work from it,
Absolutely. And that is definitely a tool that I have used my entire career.
Yeah.
Especially after getting celebrities. I constantly outflow. I promote, I post on social media all the time.
Yeah.
I shot Olivia, 15, 16 years ago.
Yeah.
Everybody knows who Olivia Newton-John is. So
Mhm.
I still post those from time to time.
Sure.
And plus I'll go to the photo shoot and I'll pull out a photo that I've never posted before, photos that nobody's ever seen before. And
Yeah.
I'll post those,
Yeah.
But that goes for all my work. There's some of the fashion and headshots and just cool shots, pictures that I like. I'll pull them out and I show it off.
Yeah.
I am a show off.
Right.
Because that is how people know what you do,
Right.
and they know who you are, and then they might not like this photo, but they might like that photo.
Correct.
And then they'll call you up, hey, I need some pictures for whatever.
It's show business.
That's right.
Show business.
That's it.
Right.
Show your business, and that's how you get more business, by showing it. So that's always something that always fascinated me, is the leverage part. George and I, we talk a lot about that, because we're booking guests for our show, and we're like, every guest, you're like an amazing guest, and I'm like, okay, this is some leverage right here. Let's use the leverage.
Absolutely.
And we go on, and I love that conversation. So what are you working on now? What are you planning? What's
okay? I have some really big things happening. With all of these different areas that I've been working on for in the entertainment industry for almost 30 years now. I am now starting a brand new production company with one of my best friends, who is now my business partner, Kristen Henry King. It's a commercial production company making commercials and music videos, and the commercials are the genres that we're focusing on is car commercials and lifestyle. Lifestyle definitely leaves it open. There's kind of a wide area there, but cars is my background. I've done stunt driving and directed and acted in over 150 commercials. Right. Most of those are car commercials. 90% of those are car commercials.
Wow.
And so I have the knowledge with the driving teams and cars and all that, and how to shoot them and all that. Kristen, her background is she is an actor and now a producer for commercials. She's currently the face of Pepsi. She's here in LA right now shooting another Pepsi commercial.
Wow.
We're building our team. We have another producer on board, and we have our accountant set up. And so we're just basically joining forces in the world of commercials, which we love, because it's fast paced.
Yeah.
You can do a couple commercials in a week easily. I've shot 5 commercials in a day.
Oh my God. Really?
How is that possible?
Oh my God.
I did a Pontiac commercial as an actor.
Yeah.
And we did 5 different spots for 5 different Pontiac cars in one location, which was the dealership.
Right.
So that was really easy.
Wow.
Yeah. So, that's to give you an example. That makes it easy.
Yeah.
Usually we do 1 a day, but it's not uncommon to do 2 or 3 commercials in a day. If you've got everything, if it's the same like brand, right, and have everything planned out and put together, because if you think about it, a commercial is usually 30 seconds, but there's often 15-second commercials.
That's right.
You don't need to shoot for weeks for that. You know what I mean? You can literally do that. You have the storyboard, you have the shot list, you have everything all planned out. You got your team going, so everybody knows what they're doing. You can easily shoot a 15-second commercial in a couple hours, and you can even easily shoot a 30-second commercial in a day.
Yeah. Just briefly, because we're coming almost at an hour, but I wanted to talk a little bit about bringing stuff to the table, because I'm looking at you as someone who brings so much to the table, because the photography, the lighting, the videography, the driving, the directing, the communication skills, all that you bring to the table. Can you talk a little bit about how important it is to kind of get those skills, because you never know when those things are going to come to play, and the constant learning is really what makes that an opportunity that you're taking right now.
Yes.
And the personal development.
And the personal development.
Oh, yeah, very good point. Okay, so I agree with that 100%. I am constantly learning. I read every day.
Mhm.
I read at least 20 hours a week. I'm constantly doing life improvement courses, self-improvement on communication or business or whatever area I want to work on at that time. You can learn forever.
Right.
Yes.
People, that's another false datum that people are told, is that after college, that's it.
Right.
You
No
know?
more school, man.
Yeah.
I don't know how to balance a checkbook, but still.
Yeah. Look how much everything has changed. People are life is constantly changing.
Yeah.
Technology is constantly changing. You got to stay on top of that.
That's right.
And we are constantly changing, and people are, and there's, we and oh yeah, so for your, for whatever your craft is, your specialty, whatever area it is, even that area, I'm watching videos, I want to know everything, even if I'm not going to do it all.
Right.
I want to understand it and know what the possibilities are. I want to know what's out there.
Yeah.
And so that way, if something comes up, I can handle it.
Right.
So,
And if you're confronted with something where it's unexpected, you're not taken, it's not, blindsided by it, because you're like, okay, yeah, I've seen that. I've known that. I've read about that. I saw a video on that. I read a book about that,
Yep.
Whatever it is. I find that really one of the most important things. And I read also every single day as well, and self-improvement courses and all that.
awesome.
It's really the only way to keep your mind sharp for whatever else is coming, because if you don't have that mind sharp, what comes in, you may miss it.
Yeah, that's
The
right.
mind's not sharp,
That's right.
So do you have any words to your artists out there that are on this journey and they're kind of like pushing through, and so far they've got 53 minutes of this conversation?
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much for having me here.
Our pleasure.
I love to help people. I love to help other artists. So anybody out there can reach out to me. My contact is on my website. My phone number is on my website. My email. I'm super easy to find, to reach. You can reach out to me and contact me, and I love to help. For all the artists that keep going. Don't give up. Don't stop. Keep yourself clean. No drugs. Just even meds. I don't even do aspirin. Keep your ethics in. Be ethical, be moral, and keep that around you too. So you need to keep the ethics in of the people in your life too. So you see somebody close to you and they're like, yeah, doing stuff.
Right.
That's not okay. Believe it or not, you are responsible to say something. You got to be like, hey, you're in my life. I see this. I don't like it. It's not making me feel good. How can I help you?
Right.
How can we work on this? Let's do this together.
Love it.
Keep going. Don't stop. Don't give up. Don't let other negative people. Remember to cut off those negative, bad people. If you can't work with them and get them to support you, and if they're invalidating you, making you feel bad, and end it. You'll make new friends. There's more friends. There's lots of friends out there.
Yeah, they're out there too. They're probably not coming in because you have that around you.
Exactly.
Once you get rid of that, whoosh.
Exactly. That's right.
Absolutely.
Perfect. We say this is Spotlight Conversations about film, music, health, and life, and I think we covered every single one of those subjects today. So
Awesome.
the perfect guest. Tim, thank you so much for being on the show. We really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Please come back again when you set up your studio, and when you're in Atlanta. We'd love to have you back again and let us know how that process was.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right. That
Wow.
was awesome.
What an amazing conversation. What an amazing person, huh?
Yeah, man. You know, that's the thing I was saying before. You know, you got to be like water. You know, you got to be able to move around things and get opportunities and see the opportunities and try new things. And
Yes.
if it goes well, cool. If it doesn't go well, keep going. You know, and
Absolutely.
that's really the
But yeah,
message that we're always
absolutely, and fantastic insights for the young artists out there, for any artist, just in general, you know, just to keep going. But it was fantastic. It was great.
Love it. Love it. All right, folks. Thank you very much for tuning in. See you all again next week on Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have Lee Haney, 8-time Olympia champion bodybuilder. You know, I was only 6 times. But he's going to be on the show next Tuesday night. So join us for that. Take care, everybody. George, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
And as always,